Let's watch CIA Harris and his video on China just so I can mauled. Why China is so damn big by Johnny Harris. This ought to be really funny. The world's most ancient nation. Why is it so big? I wonder why, chat. I can't wait. I can't wait for it to be about I can't wait for the answer to be evil communism, depriving all the innocent cultures of self-determination. It's going to be great. It's going to be real great. I don't believe Johnny Harris ever even read a single book about Chinese history before making this video. I literally don't believe it.
Every country on this planet has a story about its founding. Whether it's about a group of rebels trampling the global superpower, or a
that's the American. Oh my God!
Pacifist delivering independence for the second largest country on the planet,
the most powerful man of the 20th century,
or some dude pulling out a sword from a rock. They're usually somewhat fabricated and polished ideas of where the country came from, what it stands for. But China's story is different. China's story is a new story, and it is tightly controlled. It's a story that is being used as a weapon. A weapon
Already, this video sucks. Already, this video is fucking trash. Right off the bat, this is trash. It's tightly controlled. Motherfucker, you just had there was a huge rebellion in America saying, don't you dare teach our children facts about America that'll make us hate their country. That's CRT. What the fuck are you talking about? This is already sucks. Used as a weapon. China's history is used as a weapon. Oh my God. Give me a break, man. I'm already mauling. All right, let's keep going.
Subjugate millions of people to eliminate
what? Let's go.
And it is tightly controlled. It's a story that is being used as a weapon.
This is you know what? This is racist. Straight up, this is fucking racist.
The story is
you're showing an infantry unit doing drill and pretending that represents China. Are you fucking that is racist. You would never show a Marine unit doing drill and go, white people, America. That is absolutely fucking trash. Absolutely trash. It's the oldest civilization on the planet is China. For almost entire human history, China was the most developed region. There was a short period of 200 years where that wasn't true. But other than that, it has been. You have to go back to Roman times for there to be a competitor. The Roman Empire was the only competitor to China for most of human recorded history. This is fucking stupid. I'm already pissed off. This is already trash. Americans should learn more about China. This is just fucking propaganda, dude. Come on.
Different. China's story is a new story, and it is tightly controlled. It's a story that is being used as a weapon to subjugate millions of people.
Literally everything that I see, America has the same shit.
To expand China's borders farther than they've ever pushed before.
Taiwan expand? Bro! What? Come on, man!
It's a founding myth that can't be challenged within China, and it has been so heavily peddled and thoroughly implanted into the Chinese psyche that most people believe that China actually looks like this, and that it has always looked like this. But China doesn't look like this.
There's absolutely no fucking shot. That's what they teach in China. We were always this and we never had anything. That's not true. That's point blank not true. That's just a lie, dude. Give me a break. Yes, I'm sure they have all sorts of justifications for like annexation of Tibet, like ending feudalism or whatever. But give me a fucking break, man. You gotta be kidding me, dude.
A lot more like this. But only if you look at the real history, the facts and the evidence, which is something you can't really do within China.
What? What is he saying you can't do? Exactly. This is actually bullshit, dude. Holy fucking hell.
Instead, the Communist Party has created and weaponized the myth of this over the past 70 years to erase these borders, to build islands, to threaten neighbors, and to undertake one of the largest assimilation projects in human history.
To threaten neighbors. China is like one of the most peaceful nations in the fucking world toward its neighbors. This is dog shit, man.
history. It's a project that has cost them trillions of dollars and has been responsible for countless horrific human rights violations, all in the name of preserving a pretend version of history. A version that China believes will keep the Communist Party in power and make China the richest, most powerful country on earth. And what's scary is it just might work.
This is the history of the CCP. Xi Jinping does not want you to know.
All right, can't wait to hear it.
Several mosques have been destroyed in China's far western region of Xinjiang.
Xinjiang
One of Xinjiang's holiest sites
is not only cracking down on Muslims, but on other religions as well. One of the most common sights is the Chinese leader's smiling face.
One of the world's most ambitious construction projects is going on in secret.
Will not let foreign journalists visit those islands in the South China Sea.
Bro, the United States does the exact same shit. We have coaling islands all over the fucking world that are military bases. Have you ever heard of Wake Island? Have you ever heard of Midway Island? Have you ever heard of Guam? Have you, like, what are you talking about? Like, give me a break, man. Like, what? Guantanamo Bay? This is so fucking stupid. This is so fucking stupid. They're expanding into the South China Sea. God forbid China be in the South China Sea. Oh my God, dude.
全统一而奋斗。
Okay, pause for a second. I need to thank today's sponsor because that's how I am able to make these videos. Thank you, NordVPN, who is a longtime supporter of this channel. User-friendly. There is a real plus channel too. Internet from around
you
the
sign up
world
with NordVPN,
and be
you're
safer
in.
about it. Thank you, NordVPN, for supporting this channel, for supporting this video.
Now that I've seen this, I'm going to go accept that's it. I'm gonna get a VPN, a NordVPN competitor. Fuck this shit.
What is the Central Committee's story? Is it playable like Titus's story? On the field of Sunyata, where does China begin and end?
Open yeah, thanks for the tier 2. I'm getting a fucking competitor to NordVPN to sponsor me. Jesus.
Let's dive into this
Surfshark,
kind of heavy
someone.
but important story about China. Okay, before we dive in, I want to just make it clear that I'm aware that all countries do this thing of weaponizing their history to make themselves look good and totally justify terrible things.
You seem a decent fellow. I hate to kill you.
China.
This video is about China.
You seem a decent fellow. I hate to die.
So, I keep talking about this Chinese narrative, this Chinese myth. What is it? Well, you could hear me talk about it, or we could go right to the horse's mouth and listen to this guy, Xi Jinping, who's probably the best salesman for the Chinese story. Here he is giving a speech where he starts out with his boldest claim of all, that China is this 5,000-year-old civilization.
With a history of more than 5,000 years, our nation created a splendid civilization.
But according to his story, in 1840, outsider Europeans came in and tore apart his unified country.
China was plunged into the darkness of domestic turmoil and foreign aggression.
And now China is fighting back.
We must be ready to fight, build our ability, and keep striving to secure new victories in this struggle.
Everything Xi Jinping said is absolutely true. There is nothing to disagree with. China is 5,000 years old, and in the 1840s, foreign countries and a multi-nation international coalition invaded and ripped it apart and tore chunks off the country. For example, Hong Kong. What are you talking about? What is the lie? What are you talking about?
So the modern Communist Party of China is engaged in a project to restore the greatness of China, to make China great again. Okay, right, but this
What? This is such lib propaganda. I can't even. I believe the CIA is. I now 100% believe Johnny Harris is CIA. This is lib propaganda. This is designed for liberals. This is absolutely terrible. Bro, come on, man.
This is just a political speech. Why do we care if this guy's romanticizing the history a little bit? It doesn't really matter, right? No, actually, it does matter.
I just listened to, we listened to like the first 2 minutes of Obama's 2004 convention speech. It was this, but worse. It was actually made up bullshit. Unlike this.
Bam. Take a chill pill.
What I want to show you
Dude,
is
I honest to God hate his cuts of other content into the video. It's so unlikable. Am I wrong? When he puts like little like pop culture cuts in, it's so fucking trash. It's hack bullshit. Fuck you. It's Get your member berries going. Fuck you. Oh my God, he sucks so bad.
Is that Xi Jinping and the Communist Party use this story to justify terrible things. Mass assimilation of people to be controlled by the central government of Beijing. So to do this, let me just quickly go back and we can do a time lapse of this region of Asia and what it looked like over the past few thousand years to sort of fact check Xi Jinping.
Here is China, cradle of civilization in Asia.
What we think of as Chinese culture or Chinese civilization has indeed been around for thousands of years. It was born here along the Yangtze River, where a lot of the language, political systems, writing, art, all of those traditions...
I'm pretty sure that's not even right. I think he might be wrong right off the bat. I think he's wrong right off the bat. Isn't the cradle the Yellow River? Isn't ancient Chinese like from the Yellow River? He's literally like dark cut. Like what? I think he's wrong right off the bat. I'm not saying the Yangtze is not important, but I'm pretty sure the cradle of Chinese civilization, they got the wrong river.
Sort of originated. But from there, the idea of a contiguous unified China becomes kind of a myth. I'm going to put the modern borders of China on this map so that you can see what really is happening here. Over thousands of years, if you were to look at this territory, you would see all sorts of land configurations. Looking at this, you can see that China goes from these periods of unity to periods of total division. Over the past several thousand years, China has gone from a bunch of divided kingdoms to periods of total unity where lots of good things happen. Technology, agriculture, unity, power.
So you're basically showing the 5,000-year history. You didn't disprove anything he said. Wait, so the current modern borders are bigger than the borders of countries 2,000 fucking years ago? Or empires 2,000 years? No fucking shit, dipshit. Mo, Cujo, thanks for the tier 1. This is unbelievably stupid.
During times of division, bad things happened. The country was in chaos, there was destruction, there was war, there was lawlessness. And this just keeps on happening for thousands of years, a seemingly endless cycle of
So he's right, it's 5,000 years old! What do you mean? Isn't the Yangtze the Yellow River? No, there's separate rivers. There's the Yellow River and the Yangtze River. It's Huanghe is the river I'm talking about, aka the Yellow River. I'm pretty sure I'm right. I don't have the geography in front of me, and I'm not a China expert. I just know some bare minimum shit. Like I've read a little bit.
Morning politics.
The Yangtze is the real big one, which separates the north and south half of the country. Yellow River is more north toward Beijing, which is why it's the cradle, because that's where it started. A quick Google search: the Huanghe, the Yellow River Valley, is the birthplace of Chinese. Yeah, bro, come on, man.
And then division. Xi Jinping is very right that out of this region during some of these unified periods came like real serious advancements in shipping and math and like gunpowder and all of these things that like have informed how we've all developed as a world. This part of Eastern Asia was definitely on the forefront, but it was never one contiguous China for thousands of years.
That's not what he said!
Than having a different country where leaders
what the fuck? That's a whole nother sentence! He says the Chinese nation has a 5,000-year history, which he's totally right! What the fuck are you even talking about? What? Do you normally wear contacts or raw dog your eyes? I raw dog my eyes, unless I am driving. My eyes are pretty good, but like, I have 20/15 vision if I wear contacts or glasses, so occasionally I wear them. So Italy doesn't exist because it's unified in the 1800s. Yeah, this is ridiculously stupid, unbelievably dumb. Like, fuck you. And we're halfway in the video. This is halfway into the video. It's all stupid.
And the upshot was very clear. Unity meant prosperity and technology and all these good things, and disunity equals chaos and bad things. Okay, so it's now the 1700s, and over in Europe, the new fad is imperialism.
The fad is imperialism. The new fad, chat, is imperialism in the 1700s. Not the 1500s. It's the new fad, chat. The 1700s. That's when the fad started. We missed the first 200. You missed first 150 years of it, but it's a new fad.
These European countries who are looking for more land so that they can expand their borders, send their armies, and everyone's doing it. It's the French, it's the British, it's the Spanish, it's even the Japanese are starting to get on board with this. And over here, in today what we call China, they had once again slipped into a period of serious disunity. They were divided, but this time it came with an extra dose of humiliation.
It's not for nothing that the period stretching around 100 years from the 1840s to the 1940s is known as China's Century of Humiliation.
So we have France, Russia, the United States, England, Italy, this is Germany, Austria, ripping up China. Austria's off screen sharpening their shears.
It came with an extra dose of humiliation.
It's not for nothing that the period stretching around 100 years.
Oh, here's one. We skipped over this cartoon.
Century of Humiliation.
This era of disunity in China came from outsiders.
European spheres of influence. Okay.
You can see this political cartoon. All of these barbarians at the door vying to carve up and slice up China for their own profit. China was once again in the dumps, and it was here, while European and Japanese powers were dividing up their land, that China learned its second crucial lesson. Not just that unity is better, but that if you want to survive in this brave new world, you have to play by the new rules. And those rules were very clearly laid out by these European empires. Defined borders, a patriotic agenda, assimilating other cultures into their own. This was the playbook the Europeans were playing by, and it was working. Okay, so fast forward now, it's like the 1900s. It's the beginning of the communist revolution that would eventually—
Bro, are you fucking kidding me right now? That's your explanation of Chinese history? You're not going to talk about, man, how did China get expanded to Hong Kong? Because that was part of your video, man. Didn't even talk about the Opium Wars. Didn't talk about the warlord era. Now it's the Chinese, now it's the communists, man. Oh, okay, cool.
Enveloped this entire country. The communist leaders were small still at this point, and they used this century of humiliation and division, as well as this general lesson of unity equals prosperity, to rally the people for a new cause. The revolutionaries are like, we've been sliced.
They used the fact that they were currently being invaded by Japan. European powers had ripped them apart. Their country had been in warlords where tens of millions of people were starving in famines every 5 years. They were being forced to consume opium against their will due to the European powers using military force to prevent them from protecting their country. What the fuck? They used it though, chat. They were using it.
Up and divided by all of these foreign powers. And when we're divided, we fail. Remember? Exhibit A, B, and C. So these communist leaders went off and created this grand vision of a united China. A story that China had actually always been united. They framed it in terms of this former glory of what China used to be. What it was before the outsiders came in. A grandiose vision of the past that never really existed. I mean, again, this sounds pretty darn familiar.
We will make America strong again.
What? Yo, we're being invaded by Japanese imperialists who just exterminated an entire city in what's known as the Rape of Nanking. Oh, they've installed a puppet government using a disposed fucking imperial family in Manchukuo. There are literal warlords that are raping and pillaging all over the country for their own personal profit and selling out to foreign powers who occupy our coastal cities. Man, that's like Trump. What? Is there anybody who has a better history on YouTube of China? Someone please help me, Lord. My brain is gonna explode. Can't tell the Chinese Communist Party story without the KMT story. Yeah, they're not gonna talk about KMT. They're not gonna talk about the Chinese Republic. They're not gonna talk about the warlords. No. It's China is, the Communist Party is like Trump. Are you fucking kidding me?
Proud again, safe again, great again.
And dude, the difference is, America wasn't divided up and conquered by 8 fucking foreign powers. It wasn't being genocided by fascist imperialists. Yeah, you know, chat, if I'll give you an example. If India invaded New York and murdered and raped every single person in the fucking city, then you might have a comparison to having a person trying to make America great again. you fucking piece of shit.
Became the grand plan of the Communist Revolution in China to make China united again, despite the fact that China had never really been fully united. Not like this, but the story, this vision, was a potent rallying cry. China would never be cut up.
He's just not even right. He's using the fact that the current physical borders of China were bigger than the historical borders of China and say like, oh, it was never unified. That's an outright lie. This isn't stupid fucking shit, man. I mean, it's like when people say black nationalism the same as white nationalism. This is beyond baby brain liberal takes. This is beyond different. He's just lying. Qing dynasty is the Jing dynasty was bigger than current China. Pretty sure they were, but it doesn't even matter. China united under the Qin dynasty. That's why we call it China. I know.
Again, never humiliated. They would have defined borders.
I love how he's calling. I love how he calls foreign domination humiliation because it's called the center of humiliation, but he doesn't talk about any of the details and facts. What a dumb piece of shit. Literally disgusting.
Ethnic purity, cultural assimilation. And so for the last 70 years, that's the great project that China...
Ethnic purity? That is not even true. That is a fucking lie. Yes, there's Han Chinese discrimination because they're the dominant ethnic group. And yes, they've had assimilation programs, which I disagree with and have gone too far. But the idea that they're doing some sort of like fucking genocide is not true. That's just a... Oh my God. This is just fucking scum. This is probably better sight unseen. We're going to watch this next.
Hi, I'm John.
And if I mauled over this, then we'll maul over this.
Defined borders, ethnic purity, cultural assimilation.
Dude,
and so for the last 70 years, that's the great project that China and the Communist Party have been undertaking, creating their own great empire controlled by a central authority. This project has coincided with China getting rich, pulling 100 million people out of poverty and becoming a global superpower, all just in a few decades. All of this has given the government a lot of resources.
Yeah, they just pulled 100 million people out of profound poverty to the world middle class. That's fine. Which, by the way, whenever you hear the phrase capitalism pulled X amount of people out of poverty, that was all in China, where it's not exactly laissez-faire. It's where the market is fucking controlled and regulated and directed by the state. The fuck out of here.
Resources with which to execute their project of forcefully uniting a swath of land that isn't and has never been united. And I want to show you what that looks like.
The issue of China ruling over autonomous regions is controversial. So what are China's autonomous regions, and are they really all that autonomous?
This is the map that most people are familiar with when they think of China. But this outline doesn't tell you the whole story because nearly half of this land is considered autonomous. Super jargony term. What does that even mean? There are over 56 ethnicities in China, most of them concentrated far away from Beijing, like over here in Tibet or over here in Xinjiang. When those communist leaders were setting up their new unified China empire, they kind of admitted, like, okay, there are a lot of cultures and languages and identities within this country. We should let these people govern themselves. Not entirely, of course. They still have to answer to Beijing with certain things, but they would have autonomy, autonomous regions. But many of these semi-autonomous regions, like Xinjiang, Tibet, and southern Mongolia, these places were never originally a part of any conception of China. They were forced—
Except he's showing a bunch of regions where they're going, oh my God. Fucking stupid.
Fully absorbed by the Chinese Communist Party during its nation-building project, like in the past 70 years. Okay, let's get specific here. Xinjiang is a region that is very far from Beijing, not just geographically, but also culturally. It is a huge region, roughly the size of Alaska, has 25 million people, and half of those people identify as Uyghur, which are mostly Muslims who are from a Turkic descent, not like a Han Chinese descent. They come from a different culture. The street signs are not in any Chinese language, they're in like the Uyghur Turkic language. The architecture looks a lot more at home in like Istanbul than it does in Beijing, and 5 times a day, the streets fill with the sound of prayer. Xinjiang was an
it sounds like a horrible place where they're doing forced assimilation. Oh shit, oh fuck, oh never mind.
Republic twice before, but eventually it was overthrown by China. 8 years after China grabbed Xinjiang, the Chinese government did the same thing to an even more remote region at the highest plateau in the world, Tibet. They annexed this place that is 3 times the size of Texas. It has its own very distinct language.
Hey, how did the United States get Texas, by the way? Anyway, just we're gonna ignore that.
Culture, identity, and does not identify or connect with Beijing. And back in the day, again, when China wasn't rich and powerful, they couldn't really wrangle these regions until suddenly they got rich really fast.
Second in GDP only to the United States.
And for the past 30 to 40 years, China has been pouring money and people into these 2 regions to make them more like China. It's kind of like the geopolitical version of gentrification. It's basically where non-Chinese society
You gotta be fucking kidding me. This is the equivalent. This is OAN for libs. This is OAN for libs. If you fall for this, you are brain dead. They just now, hey, you're a liberal. You know gentrification is bad.
Societies are subsumed by societal norms of Han Chinese culture because of a bunch of militarization and money. So in Tibet, you see this in the Tibetan schools that are only teaching in Mandarin, not in the traditional Tibetan language. Or you see it in Xinjiang, where the mosques are torn down for being too Islamic and are rebuilt in traditional Chinese styles. Oh, and it starts to get a lot worse.
Are you, like, you literally show, like, 2 pictures of mosques that have been remodeled for various reasons? Also, like, in the United States, we teach in English. We have English as second language, but we teach everyone, we try to teach every child. Even if we don't have official language, you try to teach every child in English, even if in their family they speak Spanish or indigenous language or a million others. But we still try to teach everybody a common language so they can operate within society. This is fucking stupid, dude. That's really fucking stupid, dude.
In Xinjiang, the Uyghurs are literally taken away by the millions and forced into concentration camps where they're supposedly forcibly taught Chinese values. The government is involved in a mass sterilization project where they are forcibly inserting IUDs and other birth control forms to basically run them into extinction.
Okay, he's just lying. He's lying. He's lying. This is actually just false. Where's the source of this information? This is just actually a lie. The birth rate is higher in Xinjiang than it is in the rest of the country. He's just lying.
And not just like 10 people, like millions of people. China originally gave these people autonomy because they recognized that they had their own culture and they wanted to retain it. But now they've totally thrown that deal out the window. The way this presents most commonly in these regions is just the presence of military and police. There are checkpoints everywhere. There's restricted movement. There's constant surveillance.
The best book we found in our research was The Invention of China by Bill Hayden.
These people resist. They fight back. They commit acts of terror. And in response, China sends more military, more police, and more surveillance equipment. In 2018, China spent $10 billion in security in Xinjiang. That's almost double the year before and 10 times as much as it was 10 years previous. $3 billion of those dollars go into these re-education camps. That's 4 times more than the previous year. I mean, it's ramping up. They're pouring money into these regions. Per person, China spends 3,100 yuan on security in Tibet, 2,400 in Xinjiang per person. Compare that to the national average of 763 yuan per person, and you can see that every single person in these regions is worth a lot more in terms of the cost of making them assimilate. So the question is, why? Why is China doing this? Why are they investing so much money into occupying and forcibly assimilating these people? Well, there are several geopolitical and economic reasons why the Communist Party wants to do this. First off, the resources. Xinjiang produces 87% of the country's cotton, for example. And when it comes to Tibet, you can see that they provide a buffer between China and India. Tibet also has the largest freshwater supply in the world, given where they are so high up. China also uses these regions as a part of their big infrastructure initiative, the Belt and Road Initiative. They use infrastructure to connect these regions to continue to fortify their economic standing in the world. But I believe the real reason is this myth of a united China, because a united China is a strong China. A divided China is a chaotic China. This has been the rallying cry for 70 years, but it's not just assimilation within their borders. This myth has also fueled and justified China's adventures in expansion elsewhere.
Oh, I can't wait for this. This will be good.
The South China Sea. China says it will fight to the very end to prevent Taiwan from being declared independent.
The former British colony is being smashed into submission.
So now you have China building islands in the South China Sea, claiming that this entire ocean belongs to them? Oh, that's just China reclaiming what was rightfully theirs. Because after all, this ocean's been theirs for 5,000 years. They're just reclaiming it. Violating its promise to let Hong Kong stay.
Look at the guy's Twitter. He's an arch. Oh, yeah. He's from Chatham House. This guy's a far-right piece of shit. He's a far-right piece of shit. Typical. Are you curious about the roots of Chinese nationalism and wonder why there's still... Yeah, Johnny Harris is CIA Harris. Absolutely, 100,000 fucking %. 0 fucking likes on this guy's. This guy... Oh, look at my new book. 1 like. But yet, it's such a good book for CIA Harris. Dude, he's an op. Seriously. No shot. To discover how the English language evolved from the multicultural world of Elizabethan England. Elizabethan England, where they literally banned Catholicism practically. And the only reason she was the queen is because they refused to allow a different fucking sect of Christianity to exist. Are you fucking kidding me? Philippines under the new Marcos. His economic policies are likely to follow the center-right pro-growth path pursued by Duterte and Benigno Aquino, Duarte's predecessor. Incredible, man. Incredible, dude. Incredible, dude. This, like, I didn't intend to watch this for hours, but I'm so tilted.
Independent and absorbing it into China piece by piece.
Wait. Say again?
Colony is being smashed into submission.
So now you have China building islands in the South China Sea, claiming that this entire ocean belongs to them? Oh, that's just China reclaiming what was rightfully theirs. Because after all, this ocean's been theirs for 5,000 years. They're just reclaiming it. Violating its promise to let Hong Kong stay independent and absorbing it into China piece by piece.
They didn't say Hong Kong would be independent. They said it would have they would allow the system. By the way, Hong Kong wasn't a democracy until the fucking 80s. Like late 80s. It was a fucking military dictatorship. Oh, I'm sorry. Full suffrage was never granted by the British. Oops. I forgot. It was never a full democracy. You fucking lying pieces of shit. I honest to God, these liberals are disgusting, man.
Oh, that's just China restoring sovereignty over these islands that Britain stole in like the 1800s. How about an invasion of Taiwan to unite it forcibly with China? All they're doing is restoring China back to the way it was. But again, this was never the case. This is a story constructed 70 years ago to unify a country that was on the brink of collapse. This story today is weaponized and used by Xi Jinping and the Communist Party to justify almost everything that they're doing.
Achieving national rejuvenation will be no walk in the park. It will take more than drum beating and the gong clanging to get there. Every one of us in the party must be prepared to work even harder toward this goal.
Okay, so to end this, I just want to say one last thing, which is I have no interest in bashing on China and Chinese culture. There's so much beauty that comes from this region of the world.
He's an absolute piece of shit. Also, liberals, man, really the scum of the earth, aren't they?
Every one of the countries out there, including my own, are guilty of a weaponized history. The reason I'm concerned and focused on this is because this mythical fake story that China is using, it can't be fact-checked within China. So instead, the Chinese government is able to use this story as a weapon to justify the oppression of its people, the grabbing of land. And honestly, looking at it, how it's playing out, it's just a modern-day version straight out of the old European imperial.
It's really imperialist when you get Hong Kong back from European imperialists. It's really imperialist when you return an island that was under Chinese control for centuries back and you reunify it with the Chinese mainland. The KMT, when they invaded Taiwan and they were defeated on the mainland and they fled to Taiwan and forcibly subjugated the indigenous population. Yeah, that's freedom, though. And they were under martial law in Taiwan until the 80s. 40 fucking years of martial law. Yeah, that's freedom, though. We're fine.
Realistic handbook.
Honest to God. Fucking trash, dude. Complete garbage. Complete garbage. Are you watching the stream unsubbed? You're making income inequality worse. You are doing anti-praxis. We are the only Twitch stream that will not accept scam advertisers, and I will never fuck you over by selling you crap.